Hey everyone, welcome back to Reissued. If you're new here, my name is Andrew. Today we are doing a massive thrift haul. If you're a regular viewer here on my channel, you might have seen me thrifting as a part of a thrift with me video, maybe as a part of an art video or a room makeover video. I basically live at the thrift store, but believe it or not, I do go thrifting off camera as well. And so in this video, I'm going to show you everything that I've picked up over the last 6 to 8 months that hasn't appeared in any of my other videos. We have light fixtures, furniture items, tons of accessories and artwork. I think a thrift haul is a really fun and satisfying way to get inspired about going to the thrift store and seeing what you might find there, and also to get kind of a glimpse into what I'm loving lately in terms of design, and maybe that'll inspire you as well. Can't wait to get started. Let's jump on in. Okay, so I have kind of a lot to get through today, so for my brain and for yours, I'm going to sort things into categories. Let's start with lighting. Alright, so first things first, I picked up this pendant fixture at the REISSUED last week for $20. I'm not usually into the kind of like metal with exposed bulb look, but I just thought that the geometric shapes and the scale of this piece were just really unique. I also like the kind of like aged brass finish on this. It's not really old, but it does have sort of an old vintage feel to it, which of course I love. The bulb in it I think is too small, so I picked up a larger filament bulb like this at a liquidation center earlier this week for $4. It'll be just a little bit larger, but still have that same kind of glow. I was originally thinking of this piece for the atrium, but I think it's going to be a little bit too heavy looking in that room, and so I think it might work really nicely here in the living room. We have some really cool plans for the ceiling in here, and I think this would complement that well. Next up, I got this super cool black sconce fixture at the REISSUED for $25. I had looked at this one a while back and decided against it, but then it got super discounted and I was looking for options for my bathroom, so I thought that that might work. Not sure that it's gonna work for where I was hoping that it would go, but I still think it would be really cool to put somewhere if I can find a spot for it. Next up, I got this brass lamp at Goodwill last week for $8. Love the little sort of ginger jar looking base on this. Love the natural brass. It needs to get a shade on it, but I just thought the quality was there. It has that kind of vintage vibe, and you can never have too many table lamps. This wood lamp from Goodwill was $15. Not a fan of the brown shade on this, although I do like the drum shape. But I thought that the kind of wood ribbed detail on this was really beautiful. Love the natural wood tone. I always think that's a great addition to a space, so I wanted to pick this up just in case. This little lamp here in my entry, I think I got this for $8 at the REISSUED. It reminds me of kind of like what you might see in like a vintage hotel check-in kind of vibe, but definitely more modern. It has a solid black marble base and then a little bit of the gold. It ties in with some of the other fixtures that I have in the house, and again, I think it's kind of a cool marriage of like a modern design and kind of a traditional historic design. I'm also really glad to have a lamp of any kind here in the entry because the space has been so dark for so long, and I think the bulb in this lamp is too bright, but we'll get there eventually. And then finally, I got this gorgeous ginger jar lamp at the REISSUED for $25. It does have that hand-painted finish, and I thought the colors on this were really pretty as well. I just thought that this was such a beautiful piece. I love Asian antiques, so I had to pick this one up. Alright, moving on to furniture. So I got this little nightstand piece here at the REISSUED for $45. Again, I'm on the Asian antiques train. I love the combo of the dark contrast with the natural wood tone. Loving the brass details on this as well. It's a little beat up, so I think at some point I might need to do a little bit of refinishing or at least some touch-ups, but I just thought this was a great, solid piece to start from. And then I ended up getting that dining room table. I talked about that in a recent live. I loved it at the REISSUED, even though I think it's too big for my space. These are the legs on it. We had to take it apart fully to be able to get it in the car since it was so large and heavy. I just loved the detail on these legs. And then over here we have the top. There's a little like piece that goes underneath. It did have a whole mechanism where it opened out. I think we'll probably remove that since we're gonna shrink this down. But you can see here, love the little carved details along the edge of the table. I just think that's gonna be stunning. So we'll cut it down from the center of the piece, I think, shrink it down just about 10 inches or so all together. And I think it's gonna be really beautiful in the atrium dining area. Next up, we have some little hardware pieces that I picked up at various points. These ones here were 50 cents at the REISSUED. I got a bunch of them, and I'm thinking of them for the built-ins in my living room, but I'm not sure yet, not sure how I feel about the color. These hooks here were $1 a piece at the REISSUED, just really simple vintagey brass hooks. And then over here, I got this grab bag at Goodwill for $4. This came with a combination of these kind of like glass knob pieces with a little bit of a kind of like celadon colored insert on the inside that I thought was pretty. And then these here, which are maybe a little bit more contemporary looking, there's a couple of those as well. I just really was drawn to these ones here, and I thought that they would be useful somewhere, maybe even as a hook, not quite sure yet. Now on to our largest category of art and accessories. So first of all, this one may not really count as thrifting, but I did pick this up in Italy. It was when we were in Taormina. We were looking, they had a lot of ceramic pieces that were painted, but we really preferred the ones that were like a natural terracotta look. So I picked this one up for 55 euros. Cost a lot more than that to ship it, but it arrived here a couple weeks ago, and I just think it will be really beautiful, I think, in my kitchen up on the range hood. Terracotta is so classic, and that kind of orangey tone is one of my favorite shades right now, so can't wait to hang this one up. So this piece looks really new and really perfect, and I'm wanting it to feel more like it's lived in an old Italian garden for many years, and so I'm thinking about aging it. I've looked into different ways of sort of distressing or aging terracotta, not like in a fakey way with paint, but like I've seen people talk about putting yogurt on it, or about just like washing it in water and putting it outside in the sun. Does anybody have any experience with aging terracotta that way? Let me know in the comments. I think that would make this piece look a little bit more lived in before it lives in my space. Also in Italy, I picked up these 3 little pieces at a market in Sorrento. This was more of a thrifting outdoor flea market type situation. These were 5 euros a piece, so it was a steal, and I just love both the color combo, the subject matter, and then also the kind of vintage vibe that these have, of course. Next up, I got this little copper teapot at the REISSUED last week for $2. Probably won't make tea in it, but it does have the kind of vibe that I'm wanting in that space right now. I have a bunch of stuff laid out here for a future kitchen refresh video, and I just thought this would be a nice detail to add to that space. One of the looks that I'm really feeling lately is these kind of rough carved pieces. I got this one at Goodwill for $15. It's like a mirror with a little shelf below. I think that would be so pretty to put like a little plant or a candle on. And again, I love these kind of rough details. It's carved, it's ornate, but it's not super fussy, if that makes sense. It just feels a little bit more rustic and raw. In a similar vein, I picked up this little wall shelf at Goodwill for $4. And then this little wall bowl just today at Goodwill for $4 as well. Something about these pieces feels just warm and homey, but also kind of sculptural. That's just what I'm feeling right now. And the accessories continue. I got these little bookends at Goodwill just this week for $2 a piece. I saw a video recently from Rachel Maxey where she had gotten a little like mini like vintage boat like this, and I was kind of jealous at the time, but then I thought this is even better because it's both useful as a bookend, but then also has that really pretty vintage kind of look to it. Love the warm wood tones too. And then I picked up this old ship print at Goodwill for $5. It's missing glass in the frame, or maybe didn't have it at all, so my parents cut down a piece of glass from the piece that I broke in my framing video, and we're going to be putting glass in this frame just to kind of protect the piece as well. But this is very much the vibe that I'm wanting here in the living room, so I have kind of some things laid out here to kind of get a look at that. I picked up this sort of painting slash print at the REISSUED for $10. They had a bunch of different things like this. This piece has a lot of different textures and sheens going on, and so I think it would be kind of a waste to put this behind glass in a frame. And also the paper is super thick and sturdy, and so I'm thinking it might be good to do kind of like the piece that's in my kitchen and make sort of a wall hanging type thing with strips of wood at the top and the bottom. Maybe we magnetize them so as not to damage the piece in any way, and then hang it from a little string at the top. What do we think about that? Couple more art pieces here. This one I got at Goodwill. It was half price at $3.50. Just like it for the frame. I like that kind of dental molding look with the natural wood. Then I got this one here, which is an MC Escher print. Goodwill for $6. I do have a bit of an MC Escher theme going in my house, so I thought I would continue with that. And then over here, this one, I did show that in my behind the scenes video briefly. I picked this up with my boyfriend Matt at the REISSUED in Atlanta. I think it was discounted, so I got it for like $16. Not really a fan of the black glass in this frame, but I really liked the gold map on the inside. Again, for that kind of feel I was going for in the living room. I'm wondering if I can remove the glass from this piece entirely and use that for something else, and then put the map maybe in a smaller frame. Not sure about that, but I have to give it a try. Also, as a part of that behind the scenes video, I showed this one briefly. I got this at the REISSUED for $1. This does look like it's made from a vintage rug. Love the colors, love the vintage rug vibe, so couldn't resist that for $1. These three little glass pieces I got at Goodwill and at the REISSUED for $2 each. I'm looking for pieces like this for my bathroom makeover. I think that those will look really nice on the shelves to put like maybe bath salts or bath bombs, something like that, just to kind of house those products in a way that feels kind of vintage and beautiful. I really would love to find more of this kind of like dark brown glass feeling, so I'll keep an eye out for more of those. And then finally, I picked up this vintage sewing machine top at the REISSUED for $50. I don't have the base that goes with this, so maybe I'll try to source another base if I really feel like I want to sew with it. I wanted it partly because it's very cool. I think it's really pretty, even just to sit on a shelf here as decoration in the studio. But also, it came with a whole drawer of stuff here, a little pin cushion. A lot of the parts here are intact. And then there also is a manual in here as well. This actually still had a bobbin inside it, so it should be able to work. I've been looking for a machine that's a little bit more heavy duty, so when I sew on leather and stuff, it can get through, even if I have to like kind of crank it by hand. Not sure that this will work for that, but I just thought that the look was super cool, and hopefully I'll get some use out of this too. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this little thrift haul. As always, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What were some of your favorite pieces from my haul? And what kind of pieces can you not get enough of lately in your thrifting journey? Clearly, I'm really into carved pieces right now, ships, glass jars with lids. So I'm curious to know if there are any patterns popping up in your thrift hauls lately. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, be sure to hit the like button. Also, if you want to see how I incorporate these thrifted finds into my space, be sure that you're subscribed. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. What's wrong with Queenie? You don't like that lamp? What's wrong with Queenie?